Hey, go away! Why?
Yes, but even such scary and wild animals can be close friends with humans. Today, you'll learn how to overthrow the queen bee with a scent, what made a coyote make a deal with the badger, and how to make friends with absolutely any animal. Let's go. What could be cuter than kittens? Only lion cubs.
Whoa.
Whoa, look at this guy. He's got a lot of character. Unlike his brothers or sisters, he's very unhappy. You know what the problem is? A human. Here's the simple fact. Most wild animals don't want to befriend humans.
Hey, go away! Why?
But don't feel bad. As the saying goes, it's not us, it's them. Being friends with humans is contrary to animals' nature. Outside of animated movies, it rarely happens. But then why are these two lion cubs sitting so calmly in the man's arms? And what about all those stories of amazing animal-human friendship? Lots of examples versus one angry lion cub. In fact, there's a reason for his behavior. Dean Schneider understands wild predators so well that he's even managed to become a part of the pride, literally. He raised several lions, which then became a family in the sanctuary and took the human end. Although he's not exactly a human, Dean claims that the lions don't consider him a different species because the man speaks their language. Rolls around with everyone else and does other lion stuff. That's because Dean has been with them for a very, very long time. You see where I'm going with this. Any animal can become your friend if you have been in its life since childhood. Now back to the angry lion cub. Things are starting to clear up, aren't they? Unlike the couple the humans had been taking care of since birth, this fellow had only been around lions for 2 months. No wonder he's not thrilled with Homo sapiens. It'll be very difficult to change his mind. It'll take a lot of time, effort, patience, and will not necessarily end successfully. So, it turns out that animals don't see people as their friends, even if they're on good terms with them. Our best chance is to become a member of the pack. Sounds reasonable, but what about those stories when people have rescued mature animals and then they're meeting them very emotionally? Here, look at the lion named Jupiter hugging the woman who saved him from death. This is what he used to look like. The difference is remarkable. The video went viral in 2011, but everyone seemed to forget that Jupiter was not found starving in the savannah, but was rescued from a circus. At the time of his rescue, he was quite young. In addition, he'd been in contact with humans all his life since childhood. So, it doesn't count. And what about the pelican named Big Bird? People found him on the shore after a big storm, nursed him back to health, taught him to fly, and even went fishing together. He too was a baby when he got separated from the flock, so he took the rescuers for his kin. Their beaks are kind of small, of course, but you can't choose your family. Okay, I've got it all figured out with baby animals. To find one, raise it up, and you have yourself a furry or feathered friend. But what about the adults? There must be a way to find an understanding with them. Well, not a lion. Seriously, don't try that. But there's a way to do this, and it works without fail on any critter, regardless of its species, sex, or age. An absolutely ingenious and yet simple method. When I learned about it, I was shocked. Just give them food. Seriously. For example, someone managed to make friends with a wild boar. Actually, boars are hardly friendly animals, but all it takes is to feed them a few times with some bread or potatoes, and the animals will quickly realize that some people are actually nice. However, after that they might well start pestering everyone. I mean, literally everyone, making no distinction between those who fed them and completely random people. It's unnerving and even frightening when you don't expect it. And I understand people who think there's something wrong with this animal. As I said, wild animals themselves don't want to be friends with people. So if any animal starts to show unexpected friendliness, comes out of the woods into the city, approaches people, it's better to stay away from it. Yeah, maybe that fox, I don't know, it was raised by chickens. That's why it likes people. But most likely it's just a carrier of rabies. And this is a disease that threatens a painful death, understandably. If a wolf suddenly starts wandering the streets, no one would decide to rub its ears. But harmless and cute-looking animals like foxes and raccoons can pose a deadly danger to humans as well. Just keep in mind that unless you're a Disney princess, wild animals shouldn't come out of the woods to socialize with you. If you think about it, All the examples I've already mentioned can't be called friendship. They're simple tricks, real-life cheat codes, isolated rare occurrences, and boars just like to eat. Wait, but then how do you explain all these cool and overwhelmingly cute stories? Well, it's time to take a closer look because they have something in common. Yes, it's all about humans. Each of these animals has been domesticated, which means they're used to socialization. Because of their frequent contact with humans, it becomes easy for them to be friends with each other, and that basically works both ways. Now you can befriend almost any animal yourself as long as it's domesticated and you have the patience. Even if it's a chicken, you can teach it to play the piano and go on tour. Or establish contact with the pig to sell its painting afterwards. Just don't forget to share the profits with it. Otherwise, who knows, maybe your pet will choose a new friend from among the wild animals. It also happens, for example, if the animals are roughly the same size and not on each other's menus, like cats and foxes, for example. Another possibility is the friendship between social animals, that is, those that live in groups. They can overcome the instinctive fear of individuals of another species if the pros of cooperative activity outweigh the danger of the unknown. In other words, if it's fun enough to play, it doesn't really matter who your partner is. For example, at the San Diego Zoo, a timber wolf and 2 goats living in neighboring enclosures would embrace each other along the fence and then rest together. So, the trust of some animals can be gained through food, others have long been domesticated and accustomed to humans. But what about creatures that are so tiny that their brains weigh only 1 milligram? It has so few neurons that the creature can hardly establish the same logic chains like human equals good. It acts on pure instincts all its life. Is there any hope of friendship with someone like bee? You probably won't believe me, but there is a way to get through to any bee, bumblebee, or any such insect. Few people know about it. I wouldn't be surprised if this secret was discovered somewhere on the wall of a pharaoh's tomb. To become a friend of a bee, just give it food.
Too easy. Easy.
That's it, almost like with a boar. Only you need less food. Just a couple of drops of honey is enough, and you can quite easily pet your tame insect. I really wouldn't risk it though. They say that it'll even follow you, apparently hoping that you'll show it the place where humans keep all the honey they constantly steal from the hives. Think about it, a tame insect. However, if one bee is not enough for you and you want more, then look for a queen bee. It's cheating, of course, but the whole swarm will immediately follow her. And then it's your problem what to do with this bunch of bees. Strictly speaking, there can be problems in any case, even if you decide to make friends with birds. Those feathered creatures which not long ago were happy to take food directly from your hands may well change their mind. What human? In our territory, what do you mean our friend? I don't know what you mean, but the absolute champions of touchiness are ravens. Everyone knows that they're very smart birds, aren't they? And with great power comes great responsibility. I mean, with high levels of intelligence comes terrible vindictiveness. Never, you hear me, never hurt a raven, especially if you've been friends with it before. It will remember your face. Tell the other birds, and I wouldn't be surprised if it turns out that ravens are mean enough to track down where a person lives and follow them to settle things. Looking at ravens, you begin to think that friendship with some species is a downright bad idea. But believe me, the constant cawing and trying to peck you in the head is nothing. It's nothing compared to what a cassowary can do. Who would even want to be friends with a bird that's been dubbed the most dangerous bird on Earth? Still, I found one example. A Florida man owns several cassowaries, and one day he fell down next to one of the birds. Guess what happened next? Yup, an immediate attack.
They had this nasty toe that they can kick with.
The man died in the hospital. But if becoming friends with animals is such a difficult, thankless, and downright dangerous venture, why do people waste their time on it? There are cats, dogs, cows, rabbits, someone who's easy to get along with without threatening your health. So, what's the point of taking the risk? Well, usually people are just looking for the benefits, just like our ancestors who once domesticated wild animals to use them for their own purposes. So, in Thailand and Malaysia, people have found ways to get monkeys to help pick coconuts. It's believed that one animal, after about 6 months of training, can collect 700 to 1,000 coconuts today. I don't know how fast humans do the same work, but they definitely fall from the palm trees easier. You may have already started to think that people are shamelessly taking advantage of animals, and this doesn't seem like friendship at all. But in fact, when animals themselves do something like that, we see them as the best of friends. Take coyotes, for example. Sometimes they eat badgers, but often the two species work in tandem, hunting prairie dogs. The coyote may chase prey if it runs, and the badger may catch it underground if the prairie dog is hiding in a burrow. These partnerships tend to occur during the warmer months, and look, okay, let's face it, coyotes and badgers are the perfect partners in crime. Anyway, if you don't want to feed the animals and raise them since they're small, learn how to dig burrows. Then you get yourself your own coyote. See you later.